Hey, welcome! Today, we're going to talk about something we all do but almost never think about. Waiting. We're going to pull back the curtain on the anatomy of speed by deconstructing a really important idea called lead time. So let's start with a feeling you've definitely had. You've ordered a pizza, you are absolutely starving, and you find yourself asking what is actually taking them so long. Well, that whole waiting game, from the second you hang up the phone to that very first glorious bite, that, my friends, is lead time. And today, we're going to slice it up and see what's really going on inside. Okay, so here's the first big thing you need to get. Lead time isn't just one big solid chunk of time. Nope, think of it more like a chain made up of a bunch of different links. Some links are actual work, sure, but a lot of them are just waiting or moving things around. It's the entire journey. And if we want to find out where the time is really going, we've got to look at every single link in that chain. We can actually break this whole thing down into a simple 3-act play. Act 1 is pre-production, all the planning and prep. Act 2 is production. This is the main event, the factory floor, or in our case, the kitchen. And then you've got Act 3, post-production, which is all about the final checks and getting it ready to go. All right, let's dive into Phase 1, placing the order. You might think the clock doesn't start until the chef starts tossing the dough, but you'd be wrong. The journey and, the waiting, it all starts way earlier with the initial planning and prep. So first up in this phase is what we call order preparation. This is basically all the admin work. In our pizza world, this is you on the phone, the person taking down your order, printing out that little ticket, and sticking it up on the kitchen rail. The lead time clock, it has officially started ticking. And guess what? Not a single ingredient has even been touched yet.
And that brings us to Phase 2. We are now officially in the kitchen. Now, this is where it looks like all the action is, but let me tell you, it's also a total time trap. This is where most of your time is secretly being lost.
Our first delay is called queue time. Your little order ticket is just sitting there on the rail all ready to go, but the chef, our key resource here, he's busy. He's working on someone else's order, so your pizza is literally just sitting in line, waiting for the chef to be free.
So after waiting in the queue, what happens? We hit setup time. The chef is finally free. Awesome, right? But is he making your pizza? Not yet. Now he's wiping down the counter, grabbing a new ball of dough, maybe sprinkling some flour around. He's definitely active, but he's not actually producing anything yet. He's just getting the workspace ready.
And now, finally, we get to the part we've all been waiting for. Runtime. This is it. This is when the magic actually happens. The chef is tossing the dough, slathering on the sauce, sprinkling the cheese, and sliding it into the oven. This is the moment where raw ingredients are actually being transformed into the delicious pizza you ordered. And let's just pause on that for a second, because this is probably the single most important idea in this entire explainer. Think about every step so far: the phone call, the waiting in line, the counter wiping, all of it. Runtime is the only part of this entire process that actually adds value for you, the customer. It's the only time your pizza is actually becoming a pizza. But just because the pizza's cooked doesn't mean the waiting is over. Oh no. Next up is, you guessed it, more waiting. It's literally called wait time. The pizza comes out of the hot oven, but it can't be cut right away. It has to sit on a rack for a minute to cool down so the cheese can set properly. So once again, the item is just sitting there, totally inactive. And believe it or not, we're still not done waiting. Now we have move time. The pizza gets put in a box, the chef hands it to the delivery driver, and the driver walks it out to their car. Nothing is happening to the pizza itself, it's not getting any better, but that clock, oh yeah, it's still ticking away.
Okay, we're on the home stretch now. That brings us to our last act, Phase 3, the finish line. This is where the order goes through its final checks before it's really, truly done.
First in this phase is inspection. Before the box is sealed up, someone takes a quick peek to make sure everything's right. Is the crust a little too burnt? Did they remember you wanted extra pepperoni? It's that final little quality check. And the very last step in this whole production is called put away. In a big factory, this would be moving the finished product into a warehouse. In our pizza place, this is the moment the driver puts your pizza docs into that insulated hot bag in their car. It's now officially in storage, ready for its final trip to you. So there you have it. We've looked at every single step of the journey, piece by piece. Now it's time to put it all back together and see the big picture, the real story of what's happening with your time. And here it is. Just look at this timeline. See that tiny little sliver of green? That's the runtime,
The only time value is being added. Now look at everything else. All that gray. The prep time, the queue time, the setup, the waiting, the moving. It's a sea of gray. The shocking truth is that for a lot of processes, that valuable runtime is often less than 10% of the total lead time. Most of the time isn't spent doing the work, it's spent waiting to do the work.
And that brings us to the most important takeaway of this whole thing. If you want things to go faster, your first instinct is probably to just speed up the machine, right? Tell the chef to toss the dough faster. But the real secret, the biggest gains you can make, come from one simple thing. Eliminate the wait. That is the key to real speed.
So we've just followed the journey of one single pizza. But what happens when you have a whole bunch of orders? And what if the ingredients, like the cheese and the dough, all have their own lead times? Well, all that waiting starts to stack up, and that's a whole other beast called cumulative lead time. And that's exactly what we're going to break down in our next explainer. See you then.